So, Season of Mastery servers have finally come to an end, and very soon you will be able to transfer your characters to Wrath of the Lich King Classic or Classic Era realms. And today I thought I'd take a little time to talk about why Season of Mastery, if we're going to be honest, it really did just fall on its arse. It was always going to have a small audience, but it had the potential to have an audience about the same size of entire small MMOs like The Lord of the Rings Online or Star Wars of the Old Republic. But it didn't. And trust me guys, it's not just because TBC and Wrath of the Lich King coexist with Season of Mastery. Season of Mastery just utterly failed on itself to deliver anything creative and exciting enough to draw players to the servers, and it also failed so badly in its execution that people very quickly just quit. I only played the launch month of Season of Mastery and I got a mage to level 60, but I have been talking to many people who did play Season of Mastery start to finish, and it's much worse than I thought. I think first of all, the first issue is it simply just wasn't innovative enough to get people interested in the first place. There was no new raids, dungeons, battlegrounds, or even new difficulty modes. They made the raids slightly more difficult with some new mechanics, but the mechanics they added weren't exactly game-breaking. They could have easily restored some of the cut content from the original Vanilla Warcraft, like the MOBA-styled battleground set in Azshara that was cut from the game, or the Emerald Nightmare raid. By the way guys, still only 28.5% of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed to the channel. Now, if I get 130,000 subscribers by the end of the year, I am legit going to dye my hair green. So let's make it happen. Make sure you are subscribed, it really does help out. They also definitely didn't make significant enough changes to the classes. It's kind of funny how Blizzard thought that removing a debuff limit on bosses would increase the viability of different specs, but because the content was more difficult, it forced players to min-max their setups even more, and therefore the raid comps actually looked exactly like they did in the original Classic WoW. Just check the logs. Long story short, warriors everywhere. Well done Blizzard for not even understanding your own game. Here's what really needed to happen. The meme specs just physically needed damage increasing buffs, or an even better idea, just give the classes Wrath of the Lich King talents and abilities, but then strip the talent trees down a little bit so you can actually get to the bottom of a tree and off-spec a little bit. And Bob's your uncle. The meme specs would be viable, and it would give the typical meta specs much better rotations and make the gameplay way more fun for everyone. I mean, who wanted to go back to spamming Frostbolt in Molten Core all night? They also rather hilariously thought it would be a good idea to keep the original ranking system in the game. They made attempts to improve it by making a ranking process faster, but then somehow totally messed it up by making a ranking system more punishing for not playing. And this meant it was just the same story as before. People had to farm for 12 hours a day just to maintain their rank. This is totally boring and stupid game design. If you have a chance to go back and make changes to a game that you made 16 years ago and improve it, actually go and improve it. It's actually very simple. You give characters a personal rating like literally any other competitive game in the existence of the gaming industry, like Overwatch for example, a game that Blizzard actually do make. You get rating for winning battlegrounds and you lose rating for losing them. Pretty straightforward, and then your personal performance could influence how much rating you gain and how much you lose. But that should be based on PvP objectives and not personal kill to death ratios. And then make the PvP gear purchasable for honor points and have rating requirements for the top dog gear like the Grand Marshal gear. And this leads me on to another vital mistake they made by making the PvP gear obtainable from launch. This meant that you had Blackwing Lair / AQ40 quality gear from launch if you just grinded PvP, so the best way to gear was to PvP rather than to actually play the game and raid. And so most people did this because it was a waste of time to jump into Molten Core. The PvP gear definitely shouldn't have come out at launch. They should have released a different version of the PvP gear that was less powerful than Grand Marshal and Field Marshal gear. You know, equal quality to Molten Core gear with a little bit more stamina to justify it being PvP gear. Interestingly, if you use the model viewer, there's actually total recolors that are unused in the game for many of the big sets in World of Warcraft. I mean, look at this recolor of a Grand Marshal caster shoulders and the recolors of the Horde Grand Marshal weapons. I mean, they're pretty cool, right? They could have just released that. They also didn't do any drastic changes to the racials, which was desperately needed, and this caused serious faction imbalance issues because everyone knows that Theoward and Paladins are so good. A brain-dead monkey could work out that the racials are dramatically imbalanced. I know that racials are nice. Maybe they could have just allowed them still in solo play and not allowed them during PvP and raids. Or just change them to be purely cosmetic, which is how you should do racials in my opinion. The catch-up systems were also not that great. When I was leveling my mage, I got so many people coming into chat saying, what is the point in playing this over and over again? And as irritating as that was, the kernel of truth to that is people just couldn't be bothered leveling all over again. It takes a long time in vanilla. And if we're already playing TBC or Wrath of the Lich King, you know, eventually, or even retail, then, you know, why am I going to invest my time doing that leveling journey all over again? They did eventually introduce a 100% experience boost and an extra boost to elite and dungeon quests, but I think they should have had at least some double XP weekends. So, you know, increase that boost to 200% or just double the XP rates across the board for the weekends and remove that experience reduction for when you group up as a party. And also make quest items a item that everyone in the party can loot and it's not individual to each character. That way you would have more players doing group leveling with their friends on the weekend when they've run out of stuff to do in TBC or retail. Because then you could have loads more potential players just trying out Season of Mastery at least casually between raid nights. But the big gateway to get into max level in Season of Mastery and the fact that there was no new content or no new class design to try out meant that it was never going to be a significant flow of new players to the servers. You know, people who just wanted to chill and try out all the new cool changes on Season of Mastery. You level up fast anyway, so you may as well try it. You know, that just wasn't the narrative at all. So what happened is everyone who plays Season of Mastery on launch were the only players still left playing it by now, by the time it's ended. And that is why it ultimately failed so badly. By the way guys, a couple of hours after the upload of this video, I am actually doing a special charity stream. That is going to be, from the top of my head, 7 PM British summertime. If you go to my community post, you'll see all the time zone conversions there. But there's a very big chance that while you're watching this video, I am actually live right now. So check out my channel page. We're playing horror games. We're doing it for the Gamers Outreach charity. That's a charity that specialises in increasing the access for hospitalised children to get access to video games. So be sure to check that out, guys. But until my next video, ciao.